Hey everybody, my name's Jim and welcome to Revolutionary Gazette. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about a book called Fatal Sunday. It's a relatively new study of the Monmouth campaign, and in the end the Battle of Monmouth, which was fought on the 28th of June 1778 in northern New Jersey. It's a fascinating book because it really shows us just what is understood and what's misunderstood about battles of the American Revolution and what remains to be learned and what remains to be understood. Now, the Battle of Monmouth is choked with myths. We hear about it often, from the dismissal of General Lee very early in the battle by General Washington, to Molly Pitcher taking part in the American artillery counter-bombardment of the British lines. This book delves in using new sources, both from the private men and the junior officers in both armies, as well as archaeological evidence that has been uncovered on the Monmouth battlefield. In the end, it shows us just how much there's yet to be known about battles of the Revolutionary War. We have a very basic understanding now, and using all sorts of history from archaeology to primary source research, we can learn just endless amounts more of the combat which occurred on all battlefields of the Revolution. Now, this book does focus on the Battle of Monmouth, which was a pivotal point. It shows the Continental Army leaving their encampment at Valley Forge and engaging the British on a scorchingly hot day in the summer of 1778. The British forces under General Clinton would engage and fight the Continental Army to a standstill. The evidence that the authors of Fatal Sunday bring forward to us are ones that are sometimes literally beneath our feet, as they use new archaeological evidence from digs that have been done on the battlefield to new primary sources from both enlisted men and junior officers that might not have been heard otherwise. I think it's important to make that connection to the Revolutionary War and campaigns and battles, because there's so much that's yet to be known, and it's up to us, this next generation of historians and people just interested in the history, to go forward and continue building on the stories of the Revolutionary War. Some of the ways in which the authors engage with some of the myths and stories that have existed around the Battle of Monmouth Courthouse, as a historian, I find to be absolutely fascinating. Major General Charles Lee, Washington's second in command at the Battle of Monmouth, has been one of the main topics for most histories covering the battle. He was apparently dismissed in disgrace by Washington after ordering his vanguard to retreat. Fatal Sunday takes a new look from Lee's perspective of what exactly happened, and argues that he might not have actually been dismissed by Washington. This may have been one of the many myths which popped up after the battle. Lee was in a pretty horrible position, and the authors of Fatal Sunday used the transcripts from his later court-martial, as well as accounts from the soldiers under his command and the British soldiers opposing him, to give new life and start a brand new argument on how accurate was the previous history that we've all been taught of battles such as Monmouth. It also takes into account just why the campaign was being fought, giving new voices to the struggles that the British Army were encountering in the summer of 1778, as France entered the war, and the threat of the French Navy on an American coast prompted a British move up away from Philadelphia back into New York, which ultimately led to their engaging the Continental Army at Monmouth. It shows how the Continental Army was operating in the summer of 1778 after their winter of intensive training under Baron von Steuben at Valley Forge. It shows that while that training was intensive, it didn't reach every part of the army. It depicts the effectiveness of the training which von Steuben instilled in the Americans during the previous winter. All in all, Fatal Sunday is now one of the best books covering a battle of the American Revolutionary War, because it takes into account every aspect of the campaign leading up to and after the battle itself, as well as the battle's place in history and memory, not only of the American Revolution, but of all American history, as we continue to mythologize and academically as well as casually research the American Revolutionary War. I highly encourage anyone who's interested not only in the Monmouth campaign, but in how armies operated during the American Revolutionary War, to check out Fatal Sunday and learn a bit more just about how the generals interacted with each other, how the individual soldiers described campaigns and fighting, and how modern historians, including everyone who's watching today, can continue to grow our understanding and make that connection to the American Revolutionary War. With that, thanks for joining me, and I can't wait to catch everyone next time on the next issue of Revolutionary Gazette.